You think you know the market. You check your phone every morning. You look at the S&P 500. You panic when Apple drops 2%. You rejoice when Nvidia climbs 5%. You think this is the economy. You are wrong. What you see is theatre, a shadow play for the masses. The ticker symbols scrolling across your screen are just the tip of the iceberg. They are the distraction. Beneath the surface, in the dark, airless depths of the global financial system, lies the real market, the invisible market, the market that actually decides the fate of nations, currencies, and your life savings. This is the derivatives market, and its size is $600 trillion. Let that number sink in. 600 trillion. Do you know what the total gross domestic product of the entire planet Earth is? Everything produced by every factory, every farm, every worker in China, America, Europe, and Africa combined? It is about $100 trillion. The derivatives market is 6 times larger than the entire real economy of the world. It is a mountain of money that does not exist. It is a phantom, a ghost. But it is a ghost with the power to crush the living. So what is a derivative? Bankers will tell you it is a complex financial instrument for hedging risk. They will use words like swaps, futures, options. They will try to bore you into submission so you stop asking questions. But I will tell you the truth. A derivative is a bet. It is nothing more than a wager on the future price of something else. Imagine 2 bankers sitting in a high-rise in London. Banker A bets that interest rates will go up. Banker B bets they will go down. They write this bet on a piece of paper. That paper is now a derivative. It has a value. They can trade it. They can use it as collateral to borrow more money to make more bets. Now multiply that bet by billions. They are betting on everything. On the price of oil, on the weather in Brazil, on the default of the United States government, on the stability of the Japanese yen. They have built a casino so vast that it dwarfs the real world. In this casino, the chips are not plastic. The chips are mortgages. The chips are pension funds. The chips are the food supply. And the terrifying part, this casino has no regulator. No one truly knows who owes what to whom. It is a web of dark contracts hidden in the balance sheets of too-big-to-fail banks. You might say, so what? Let the rich gamble. It has nothing to do with me. That is the most dangerous lie of all, because when a bet of this magnitude goes bad, the loser does not just walk away from the table. When a $600 trillion mountain shifts, it causes an earthquake that swallows cities. We saw a tremor in 2008. The mortgage crisis was just a small corner of the derivatives market unraveling, just a tiny fraction, and it nearly destroyed the global economy. Today the stakes are 10 times higher, the leverage is greater, the debts are deeper, and the system is more fragile than ever before. We are standing on a glass ceiling. Above us is the sky. Below us is a $600 trillion bomb ticking away, and the glass is cracking. Every time the Federal Reserve raises interest rates, the glass cracks. Every time a war starts in the Middle East, the glass cracks. Every time a bank like Silicon Valley Bank fails, the glass cracks. The bankers tell you the system is strong. They tell you they have learned their lessons. They tell you the stress tests prove they are safe. Do not believe them. They are playing Russian roulette with a fully loaded cannon, and they are pointing it at your house. The invisible mountain is moving, the pressure is building, and when the avalanche starts, it will not matter if you own stocks or bonds or cash. Because the avalanche buries everyone. How does the end of the world begin? It does not begin with a nuclear explosion. It does not begin with a speech by a dictator. It begins with a missed payment. One single missed payment in a ledger you will never see. In the world of derivatives, everything is connected. This is called counterparty risk. It is a sanitized, boring term for a suicide pact. Let me explain it so you understand the gravity of your situation. Imagine 10 people standing in a circle on the edge of a cliff. They are all roped together. Banker A is holding the rope of Banker B holds Banker C, and so on. Banker A feels safe because he has bought insurance from Banker B against falling. Banker B feels safe because he is insured by Banker C. They all look at their balance sheets and see zero risk. They believe the rope will hold them. But here is the secret they don't tell you. Banker C is broke. He has sold insurance to everyone, collecting premiums, buying yachts and penthouses, but he has no money to pay if someone actually falls. He is betting that no one will ever fall. This is the state of the global banking system today. The banks have created a web of debt so complex that even their own supercomputers cannot untangle it. JP Morgan owes money to Deutsche Bank, who owes money to Citigroup, Who owes money to a hedge fund in the Cayman Islands? Now, introduce the butterfly. The butterfly is a small event. Maybe it is the bankruptcy of a regional bank in Japan. Maybe it is a sudden spike in the price of oil. Maybe it is a bond market crash in Italy. This event pushes Banker A. He slips. He turns to Banker B and says, "Pay me, I have insurance." Banker B turns to Banker C. But Banker C's pockets are empty. He cannot pay, and in that split second the rope snaps. This is not theory. We saw a preview of this in 2008 with AIG. AIG was the insurance company for the entire world. They sold credit default swaps, insurance against bad loans. When the loans went bad, AIG owed billions it did not have. Back then, the government stepped in. They printed money, they saved the circle. But remember the number, 600 trillion. Today, the circle is too big to save. If a major derivatives clearinghouse fails today, there is not enough money in all the central banks of the world to bail it out. You could print every tree on earth into dollar bills, and it would not be enough. This is the mathematical certainty of collapse. The system is built on the assumption of liquidity, the assumption that you can always sell, that you can always trade, that money will always flow. But fear freezes flow. When the panic starts, trust evaporates instantly. Banks stop lending to each other because they don't know who is holding the toxic bag. The ATMs stop working not because the machine is broken, but because the digital handshake between banks has failed. The dominoes are falling faster now. Look at the bond market. It is the foundation of everything. It is supposed to be the safe haven. But volatility in the bond market is at historic highs. The foundation is shaking. The derivatives market was built to stabilize this shaking. But instead of a stabilizer, it has become an amplifier. It is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline because the gasoline is cheaper than water. It works for a second to smother the flame, but then the explosion is 10 times worse. We are watching the fuse burn, and the butterfly is already flapping its wings. There is a word that bankers use to comfort themselves: liquidity. They tell you, don't worry about the risk, the market is liquid. If things go wrong, we can always sell, we can always exit. This is the most expensive delusion in the history of finance. Liquidity is a coward. It is there when you don't need it, and it vanishes the second you do. Imagine you're in that theatre. There are 1,000 people inside. Everyone holds a ticket that says redeemable for cash. They feel rich. They look at their ticket and see a number, $1 million, but there is only one narrow door. And outside that door there is only one buyer with a suitcase containing $10,000. As long as everyone stays in their seats, the illusion holds. Everyone believes they are a millionaire. But the moment someone smells smoke, the moment the first derivative contract fails, everyone rushes for the door at the exact same time. What happens? The price of the ticket does not go down by 10%. It does not go down by 50%. It goes to zero, instantly, because there are no buyers. This is what the liquidity trap means for the $600 trillion derivatives market. When the chain reaction begins, the algorithms, the AI trading bots that control 90% of the volume, will all make the same decision at the same microsecond. Sell. But who is on the other side of that trade? Who buys a burning house? No one. The market will not crash. It will freeze. The bids will disappear from the screens. You will try to log into your brokerage account to sell your ETF, and the button will simply not work, not because of a glitch, but because there is no price. This is the nightmare scenario that keeps central bankers awake at night. A no-bid market. We saw a glimpse of this in March 2020. The Treasury market, the safest, most liquid market on Earth, stopped working. For a few terrifying hours, you could not sell US government debt. The Federal Reserve had to step in and buy everything to unfreeze the gears. But remember, that was a tremor. The derivatives bomb is the earthquake. Smart money knows this. The billionaires, the insiders, the people who run the family offices in Zurich and Singapore, they are not trying to time the top. They are trying to find a different door. They are quietly moving out of paper assets. They are moving out of things that rely on a counterparty to pay. They are buying farmland. They are buying gold bullion stored in non-bank vaults. They are buying energy infrastructure. Why? Because an acre of soil does not have counterparty risk. A bar of gold does not need a bank to remain valuable. They are building an ark. And you're still sitting in the theatre, watching the movie, holding your ticket. You think you have time. You think you will see the smoke before the others. But in the world of high-frequency trading, the time between smoke and inferno is measured in milliseconds. By the time you hear the news on CNN, the door has already been sealed shut, the smart money has already left, and you are trapped inside with $600 trillion of worthless paper and a fire that cannot be extinguished. The trap is set, the spring is coiled, and the exits are purely decorative. So what happens when the $600 trillion bomb finally explodes? Do not expect a Hollywood ending with explosions and riots in the streets. Not at first. The end of the financial world will be quiet. It will be digital. One morning you will wake up and your banking app will not open. It will show a spinning wheel. You will go to the grocery store and your card will be declined. System error, the cashier will say, looking confused. You will think it is a glitch, a cyber attack, a temporary outage, but hours will turn into days. The ATMs will remain dark. The stock market will remain closed until further notice. Behind the scenes, in the situation rooms of Washington, Brussels and London, panic will be absolute. The banks will be insolvent. The derivatives chain will have shattered, leaving a hole in the global balance sheet larger than the GDP of the entire planet. There is no bailout for this. You cannot fill a black hole with paper money, so they will do the only thing they can do. They will flip the table. They will declare a banking holiday, a nice cheerful name for freezing your assets. They will tell you it is for your protection, to stabilize the system, and then they will introduce the solution. They will say, the old system of private banks and risky bets has failed. It was too chaotic, too greedy. We need a new system, a safe system. Enter the central bank digital currency, the CBDC. They will offer you a deal, a devil's bargain. We know you cannot access your savings in the collapsed bank, they will say, but do not worry. We have created a new account for you directly at the Federal Reserve. Your money is safe there. We will convert your frozen dollars into the new digital dollar, 1-to-1. You will be relieved, you will be hungry, you will accept, but there is a catch. The old money was yours, it was anonymous. You could spend it on whatever you wanted. You could put it under your mattress. The new money is theirs. It is programmable. It is not an asset, it is a permission slip. They will convert your savings, but they will attach strings. For the sake of economic recovery, they will say, this money has an expiration date. You must spend it within 30 days, or it vanishes. For the sake of climate stability, they will say, you can only buy a limited amount of meat or gasoline. The derivatives crash is not an accident. It is a controlled demolition. It is the perfect excuse to wipe out the unpayable debts of the old system and usher in a new system of total control. The Great Reset is not a conspiracy theory. It is a bankruptcy restructuring plan. The glass ceiling was meant to shatter. The shards are meant to cut you, to bleed you of your independence, so you will beg for the tourniquet of state control. This is the endgame of the $600 trillion casino. The house always wins. And if the house is about to lose, they burn the casino down and lock the doors. You're standing in the lobby. You smell the smoke. You see the cracks in the ceiling. The smart money has already left the building. They are holding gold, land, and real things that cannot be deleted with a keystroke. You still have a moment, a tiny sliver of time before the first domino falls. Will you keep staring at the screen, hoping for a rebound? Or will you find the exit? Tick-tock, the game is over.